So, you want to become a doctor? First of all, congratulations. You've probably already pictured yourself wearing a spotless white coat, a stethoscope around your neck, confidently walking through a hospital while everyone calls you doctor. Patients trust you, families thank you. And somehow, by the end of the month, you're driving home in a brand new luxury car. After all, doctors are rich. At least, that's what most people believe. Unfortunately, medicine has a habit of introducing reality very early. Before anyone lets you treat a patient, you'll spend years studying subjects with names you can barely pronounce, survive exams that make high school feel like a holiday, and sacrifice weekends while your friends are already building careers and earning salaries. But here's the interesting part. Medical school isn't just teaching you how to save lives. It's quietly preparing you to enter one of the largest industries in the world. Because every appointment, every surgery, every prescription, every hospital bed generates money for someone. The question is, how much of that money actually reaches the doctor? And that's where the hidden economy begins. Before you write your first prescription, before you save your first life, before anyone calls you doctor, someone has to pay for the journey. And unless your family owns a money printing machine, that someone is probably you. Medical school isn't just expensive. It's one of the biggest financial investments a person can make. In the United States, becoming a doctor can easily cost more than $250,000 once tuition, books, equipment, examination fees, and living expenses are added together. And that's before residency. Don't worry though. I'm sure you accidentally found $250,000 between your sofa cushions last weekend. For everyone else, student loans become an unwanted classmate that follows you long after graduation. Of course, the numbers change depending on the country. Some governments heavily subsidize medical education, others don't. But one thing stays the same almost everywhere: time. While your friends are buying cars, getting married, and climbing the career ladder, you're still memorizing anatomy, learning diseases with names longer than some people's life stories, and trying to survive another examination. Because becoming a doctor isn't simply about paying with money, it's about paying with years. Congratulations! You survived medical school. You finally have your degree. Your family is celebrating. Your neighbors have already started calling you doctor. There's just one small problem. You're not finished. In fact, some doctors will tell you the hardest part is only just beginning. Welcome to residency. Think of it as an apprenticeship, where the lessons are real, the patients are real, and the pressure is very real. Depending on your specialty, residency can last anywhere from 3 to 7 years. During that time, you'll work long shifts, spend nights in the hospital, and occasionally forget what day of the week it is. Don't worry, sleep is optional. At least that's what residency sometimes feels like. The good news is that residents do get paid. The bad news? When you divide that salary by the number of hours worked, it suddenly doesn't look nearly as impressive. You're learning from experienced doctors, making life-changing decisions under supervision, and carrying responsibilities that most people your age could never imagine. Because in medicine, experience isn't earned by reading another textbook. It's earned one patient at a time. By now, you've probably wondered something. A patient walks into a hospital for surgery. The final bill arrives. It says $40,000, sometimes even more. So, does the doctor walk away with $40,000? Not even close. One of the biggest misconceptions about medicine is believing that every dollar a patient pays ends up in the doctor's pocket. In reality, a hospital is like a small city. Someone has to pay the nurses, the pharmacists, the laboratory, the MRI machines that cost millions, the operating rooms, the electricity that keeps life support machines running 24 hours a day, the cleaning staff, the security team. And yes, the hospital itself expects to make a profit too. By the time everyone takes their share, the doctor's portion is often far smaller than people imagine. That's why many physicians eventually face a choice: continue working for someone else's hospital, or build a clinic of their own. Because treating patients is medicine, owning the building where they're treated, that's business. And those two things don't always pay the same. Let's say you've been a doctor for 10 years. You've built a reputation. Patients trust you. Your appointment book is full weeks in advance. Life is good. Then one day, You look around the hospital and realize something. Every patient you treat generates income, but you're only receiving a fraction of it. The building belongs to someone else. The equipment belongs to someone else. The pharmacy belongs to someone else. Even the parking fees go to someone else. That's the moment many doctors start asking a different question. What if I opened my own clinic? Of course, opening a clinic isn't as simple as renting an office and hanging a stethoscope on the wall. You'll need medical equipment that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, qualified nurses, reception staff, medical software, insurance, government licenses, and enough savings to survive the first few months before patients begin walking through the door. But if the clinic succeeds, something changes. You're no longer earning money only from your medical knowledge. You're earning from the business you've built around it. Ironically, some doctors discover that the biggest financial decision of their career wasn't becoming a doctor. It was becoming an entrepreneur. By now, becoming a doctor sounds like a respectable career, good income, job security, the chance to save lives. You've probably even started imagining where you'll park your future luxury car. There's just one detail nobody puts on the hospital brochure: the sacrifices. Hospitals never really sleep, which means doctors often don't either. Birthdays get missed. Family dinners are interrupted by emergency calls. Christmas, New Year's Day, weekends. Illness doesn't care what's written on your calendar, and neither do hospital pages. Imagine finally getting home after a 14-hour shift. You take off your shoes. Your dinner is finally hot. Then your phone rings. An emergency surgery. A patient has taken a turn for the worse. 5 minutes later, you're back in the hospital. People often admire the doctor's salary. Very few admire the thousands of hours that disappeared to earn it. Because medicine isn't just a profession, it's a responsibility that follows you long after your shift is supposed to end. Sometimes the hardest part of being a doctor isn't making difficult medical decisions. It's trying to convince your family that you truly wanted to be there, but someone else needed you more. By now, you've probably noticed something. Doctors make hundreds of decisions every single day. Which medicine to prescribe, whether a patient needs surgery, whether that pain is harmless, or the first sign of something much worse. Most of the time, they get it right. But medicine has one rule that no doctor can escape. Doctors are human. Imagine you're treating 50 patients during a busy hospital shift. You're tired. You've been awake for nearly 20 hours. A patient arrives with symptoms that look like the flu. Hours later, it turns out to be something far more serious. Suddenly, one decision becomes the only thing anyone remembers. Patients can file lawsuits. Hospitals launch investigations. Medical boards review every decision you made. Years of building trust can be questioned because of one terrible day. That's why experienced doctors don't just rely on intelligence. They rely on systems. Double-checking prescriptions, confirming patient identities, asking another doctor for a second opinion. Not because they're unsure, but because confidence without caution can become dangerous. Ironically, the best doctors aren't the ones who believe they're incapable of making mistakes. They're the ones who respect how expensive a mistake can be. After everything you've seen today, the years of studying, the student loans, the sleepless nights, the endless residency, the pressure, the responsibility, you might be asking yourself one simple question. Is becoming a doctor actually worth it? The answer depends on what you're chasing. If your only goal is to become rich, there are easier ways to do it. Building a successful business, investing wisely, or creating a company can make you far wealthier than the average doctor. You don't need to memorize hundreds of diseases just to build wealth. But if you're looking for a career where every single day gives you the chance to change another person's life, medicine is difficult to replace. A successful surgery isn't just another day at work. A correct diagnosis isn't just another paycheck. Sometimes, it's the difference between a family going home together or going home with an empty seat. That's something money can never measure. The hidden economy of becoming a doctor isn't simply about income. It's about carrying a responsibility that very few people are willing to accept. And perhaps that's why society continues to place so much trust in the people wearing the white coat. Just when you thought surviving medical school was difficult, now you have to compete with a machine. Artificial intelligence can already analyze thousands of X-rays in minutes. It can detect patterns in medical scans that the human eye might overlook. It can summarize patient records, recommend possible diagnoses, and even predict certain diseases before symptoms become obvious. So, should doctors start worrying? Yes and no. AI will almost certainly replace some repetitive tasks, hours of paperwork, routine documentation, basic image analysis. Those jobs are already changing. But imagine you're sitting in a hospital room. The doctor looks at you and quietly says, "I'm sorry, it's cancer." At that moment, you don't just need information. You need someone to explain your options, to answer your family's questions, to help you make one of the biggest decisions of your life. That's something no algorithm can truly understand. Because medicine isn't just about finding the correct diagnosis. It's about understanding the human being behind it. Technology will continue transforming hospitals, but compassion, judgment, and trust remain the most valuable tools a doctor carries, at least for now. So, after everything we've uncovered today, the years of studying, the student debt, the sleepless nights, the pressure, the responsibility, the business behind hospitals, and the sacrifices that most people never see, would I still recommend becoming a doctor? Yes, but probably not for the reason you expected. If your only goal is money, medicine isn't the easiest road. There are entrepreneurs who build companies in 5 years, investors who multiply their wealth without ever stepping into an operating room, and business owners who earn more while working fewer hours. But medicine has something those careers can't promise: purpose. Every morning someone walks into a hospital hoping that one person knows what to do. On their worst day, you become their best chance. That's a responsibility few people are willing to carry. And perhaps that's exactly why doctors continue to earn something more valuable than a paycheck: respect. Because long after the hospital bill has been paid, long after the prescriptions have been thrown away, people rarely remember what their doctor charged. They remember how their doctor made them feel. And in a world where almost everything can be bought, that kind of trust remains priceless.